Good evening, Pittsburgh sports fans. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. Joining me are my co-hosts, Mac, Tracy, and Edward. Full staff. It's great. It's great to have a full staff.
Evening, gentlemen.
We're gonna have Ray Fittipaldo joining us at 8:45, talking this new head coach hire. Unbelievable. We're gonna get right into that. I'm sure we'll be. The bulk of the show is going to be talking that. Also, wanted to get into a little bit of assistants. What I know, one assistant looks like it's already pretty much done. Get into that, and there's still some other ones that they're going to need looked at. Also, I want to get into the Penguins, red hot Penguins. I mean, second in the Metro. Jeez, I mean. Yeah. I want to get your guys' take on whether you think this is a playoff team. I think it is. We'll get into that. Yeah. I know we really haven't mentioned too much about Pitt basketball, but they had an overtime win last night against Wake Forest. So I don't know. They're still awful, but
is that on the Bravo channel?
It might actually. He was in the Hallmark channel.
In between Christmas movies.
Yeah, but like I said, we'll have Ray Fittipaldo joining us at 8:45. We want to get his take on the hire.
Ray.
I'm sure he'll have some things to say about that. So we'll be talking Steelers. In between, we'll be talking Penguins, Pitt, Pirates. Maybe I know it's what, about a week or 2 weeks until pitchers and catchers report, and then we're going to circle back around to the whole McCarthy thing at 8:45 when Ray Fittipaldo joins us. All right, guys. So we have a new coach. Okay, we've got a new coach. I don't know. I'm mixed about it. I mean, I think I expressed last week on the show. I really wanted to see. My front runner was Chris Schuler. I got to be honest. That was my front runner. But I'll take this. I mean, I don't look at this like it's necessarily a bad thing. I just would have liked to go in that direction of a little bit younger. But I mean, he brings a lot of pedigree. I don't know. What do you guys think, Mac? Let's start off with you tonight, my man.
All right. Well, I think it was a very conservative call. In all manners of the way. Pittsburgh home guy. This guy brings offensive background. He definitely. I think moves it in the right direction. Wasn't as risky or as sexy as some people would like to have seen. I did hear the Shula thing, and I don't disagree with you. But from every report I heard the interview was a disaster. From what I heard, I don't know how true that is, and we might be able to get into that later. That might be a question we could throw out. But I just heard that. But overall, I think it's a decent hire, and considering the quarterback room, I think that's done for another reason, and I think we kind of all know that. But I'll leave you go, Ed.
I think Tracy should go next. Go ahead, Trace.
I think Tracy should go next too. I'm with you. Here. Now, can I just say one thing? Trace, before you, Mac? I agree with you. I mean, that's here's what people. I'm going to add a little disclaimer to this.
Ooh, I know what he's going to say.
Okay, let's look at this from the standpoint of who owns this team, right? Who owns this team, Okay? Art's a lawyer. Okay? Art's a lawyer. Now, I don't claim to know law or anything like that, but I was a criminal justice major in college. I had to take a law class, and I know the first rule in law is you want to mitigate risk. That's their first thing. You got to mitigate risk. Okay? That's like the number one thing in law. Mitigate risk. Find ways to mitigate risk. Do you think maybe this was a hire that kind of followed that philosophy? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Tracy, go ahead. Art's a lawyer.
I would say yes.
You know this.
I would agree with both of you. I think it's a safe plan. I think it's mitigating risk. I mean, all that, but I'm not exactly thrilled. I wanted the younger guy too, but Mac, I heard the same thing. I heard Shula bombed on the interview. So sorry, but I mean, this might be just a 3-year plan. What I do think he brings, what I didn't realize, is the ties to Pittsburgh that he has. Like, he might actually come with a fire and want to win here because he's from here, right? If I'm not mistaken, he might even be a Yinzer.
He's from Greenfield, yeah. He's
right. This is like his dream job, right?
Well, he said that.
Absolutely.
He cried in the.
I did see that.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Well, he's known to develop quarterbacks, so what a better coach to have. Right. But I hear he's good at developing quarterbacks, right? So, I mean, what better coach to have if you have somebody who needs to develop a quarterback for a team who has one that's too old and they have to draft something and start developing something. I know he gave some love to Will Howard. We'll see. Might be an experiment, but yeah, I think this is a 3-year plan.
We haven't had that in a long time. We haven't. When's the last time we had anybody to develop a quarterback?
1950s.
I don't know about that. But.
I'm just saying. It was before 1969, that's for sure.
Hey, Mike. There he is. There's the man.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, I'll go then since you're paused.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I lost my train of thought.
You did pause. It was an uncomfortable pause. So I'm going to fill out.
Well, the gears are
turning too fast.
Yeah.
What did I think about Mike McCarthy? I thought Mike McCarthy was a hire
that's actually Mike's question. How do you feel about McCarthy? Yeah.
He has a Flyers jersey on this, so both the Capitals and the Penguins hate the Flyers. What did I think about Mike McCarthy?
The slowness of the question.
Yeah, it is. What do I think about Mike McCarthy? He's a quality coach. He's a little older than I thought. I thought he was in his 50s, lost a bet, paid it off today. I also think that Bill and I talked about this off air. It's not an attractive job. Sorry, guys. It's just not an attractive job. There is no quarterback whatsoever. It's just not an attractive job. And the fact of the matter is they have a lot of turmoil and they're stuck on these bizarre streaks. Just crazy streaks that they think is really cool and they think it's a model for a franchise. I hate to tell you, it's just not. Right? It's just not the model for a franchise any longer. I mean, you had 3. How many more Super Bowls do you think you would have had? And again, we have to point to the Patriots, right? They started playing ball in the 60s. Steelers started in 1933, right?
Right.
And in the 60s, the Patriots started. I don't know how many coaches they had. They might have 30 coaches.
Boston Patriots, too.
Well, they became the Redskins. Also,
right.
They went from Boston Patriots to Boston Redskins, and then they created the Boston Patriots. But anyway, I digress again. If you look at it, they've had 20, 30 coaches since '69. They're in their 12th championship game, 12th, on the precipice of a 7th Super Bowl. So I think the Steelers need to get this nonsense out of their head, first of all, and you have to look to teams that are better than you. Gerard Mayo lasted a year. They looked at it. Robert Kraft looked at it and said, "Guess what? He ain't working, and I don't even think he likes massages with happy endings like I do." So he got rid of him, right? And he went out and got Vrabel. And Vrabel was a quality coach in defense, and he has a plan, right? So the idea that you get a coach with experience is good in McCarthy. I just don't see what he's going to do with the team if they stay the same. If they roll out the exact same, Joe's out for the season, plus a few draft picks, they're going to be terrible. And they're going to be, just as bad. You have to this is the opportunity for the Steelers organization to retool the entire organization from top to bottom. Make some sexy trades, go out and get some players, do some different stuff. If you roll out this exact same boring people that were here last year, it's going to be the same result. So if Mike McCarthy hires some really good people around him, hey, more power to him. And if he takes that freaking roster and turns it literally upside down and puts everybody on offense on defense, everybody on defense and offense, something akin to that, then they'll have a chance at succeeding. Or he falls flat on his face for 2 years and they have to get rid of him. They need change and they just don't realize it. They don't understand the fact that they are not a team. They haven't been a team that's been able to reload unless the standard is just above mediocrity. If they like that as a standard above mediocrity and they like making money, then just keep doing what you're doing. mean,
well, yeah, and I think you raise a good point. I do not think a guy like Shieldhouse, a guy like Shula, Minter. I mean, all these guys that interviewed, all these young guys that interviewed. I don't think they really. I mean, do you really think Chris Shula wanted to come here? Do you really think Shieldhouse wanted to come here? Given that your quarterback room is Will Howard and Mason Rudolph currently, you know, I said it off air, Ed. What did I say? I said a lot of these guys may have used this as practice. You know,
for next year.
For interviews. You know, exactly. and you know they of course they you know they just I don't you know and you know all these fans are up in arms. What if really the Steelers had no choice? What if none of these guys had any interest except Mike McCarthy? What if that? I mean, like
it's possible.
Yeah, like you know, you guys are you know all up in arms on this. You know, I've heard Tomlin 2.0. See, I don't look at it like that, and I tell you why, because this is an offensive minded coach. Okay, this is a coach that I think is going to bring in, you know. This is a coach that has a tree, right? A coaching tree. This is a coach that, you know, I think he's going to bring in guys that are going to be, you know, as smarter or as equal to him in smarts. Not, you know, like Tomlin, you know, I got to be the smartest guy in the room. You know, I don't know. I'm more optimistic than the average fan on this whole thing.
Than the average Joe.
Yeah. I mean, I look at his pedigree. I mean, he's 310 games of head coaching experience. Okay, he has 185 total wins, six most among the active coaches right now. Okay, you know, consistent success. He's recorded 11 seasons with 10 or more wins, and he's led his team to the playoffs in 12 times in 18 seasons. So you know, I mean, you can say hey, he's 62. I get it. You wanted somebody younger, but like I said, I really believe from what I'm hearing, and we'll ask Ray this when he comes on the show at 8:45. But what I'm hearing is a lot of these guys really didn't have an interest in coming here. And when you look at it, when you really step back and look at it, can you blame them? I mean, you know, another thing too. Offensive expertise Mike McCarthy brings to the table. QB development. I alluded to that earlier. You know, we haven't had a coach here that's been able to develop quarterbacks in a very long time. He's one of the first offensive-minded head coaches in over 50 years. And what does that tell you? What does that tell you? I mean, 50 years ago, you know, it was about running the football and playing defense, you know, breaking this mold of the defensive coaches and the defensive-minded coaches that you've had for decades here. You know, I mean, hey, you know, you say what you want to say, and we'll get into this, you know, this whole Aaron Rodgers thing. But, you know, he developed Darren Rodgers. He developed Dak Prescott, okay? You know, I'm going to tell you right now, you know, Dak Prescott, you know, he had some – you know, when he first came in the league, I don't know. You know, there was a lot of the jury was kind of still out on him for a few years. But I'll tell you what, in 2023, I can remember them interviewing McCarthy during Cowboys training camp, and they asked him. They said, you know, what are you going to do with Dak Prescott? There's some, you know, issues, you know, lingering issues with him. What do you, you know? And well, we're going to tweak it. There's things we want to look at, things we want to work on. And guess what? You know, he led the NFL in touchdown passes in 2023 under McCarthy's guidance. So, I mean, there's you know, just people are just up in arms about this. I think you really need to look at some things. I was on a show the other night, and somebody said, when's the last time McCarthy won a playoff game? How about 2023 when he coached the Cowboys and in wild card when they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I mean, the guy, you know, he's, you know, when you look at it, I wanted to throw this out to you. During his final full seasons in Dallas, 2021 to 2023, his offense is ranked 1st, 11th, and 5th in total offense. So, you know, I mean, how about the local aspect of the cultural fit of this whole thing? A native of Pittsburgh, Greenfield to be exact. He's widely viewed as one of the homegrown, coaches from around this area who understands the city. I mean, he was born here. He understands the city. He has the old school roots here. His father, I think, was a Greenfield police officer. He knows the franchise, right? He grew up a fan in the Chuck Noll era. Yeah. He's deeply familiar with the the cultural aspect of this city and this team.
Right. And the last time they had a hometown coach was like in the guy was from Ambridge, I believe.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, he was an Ambridge guy, friend of Tracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, it shouldn't be anybody's surprise too. In this hire, he had a relationship with Omar Khan prior to this. I want to say Omar Khan was his offensive. I think he was like an offensive. I forget. He was like an offensive assistant or something like that. In New Orleans back in 2000 to 2004 to be exact. So I mean, we heard about this too. About how hey, they're not going to rebuild. It's a stability, it's a win now mentality, and I don't know. I mean, you hired one of the most experienced coaches available, I think. But so I don't know. I mean, what do you guys feel about some of the things I've thrown out there? Is there anything that you disagree with, or?
They definitely needed an offensive coach. If you're going to spend no money, at least get a better coach for offense. So that's a good thing. They just need to balance the books. Got to have a quality defense coordinator, and Graham looks like the guy. I mean, if you get somebody like that who's had, he was a difference maker at almost every team he was at. So, I mean, little differences. Right. So hopefully, they choose somebody like that. Offense coordinator, I don't know who they're going to choose because he's going to call plays. So,
I did hear Graham, Eddie. I heard Graham today that it's about there's some kind of tie with him that he wants to come here.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's leaving the Raiders.
So, yeah.
Well, I'd like to say in terms of risk, you hit it on the head with the pick in general. There is no risk with this pick. You can always fall back and say we picked the guy with a track record. Okay, I have no problem with him doing that. He brings a lot of it to the table, like you said. He's the Johnny Cochran of selections, right? If you want to throw that legal sense out, we hired the best guy, the best qualified guy, right? He in reference to this team and no coaches wanting to come here, I ain't buying that, gentleman, for a second. I hear you, Ed, and I agree with you on a stance of personnel and not having a quarterback. But nobody on the planet's going to stand there and tell me that this isn't a top, 10, 12, franchise wanting to come and coach for. You can't tell me it. Stability's one, okay. Legacy's two, okay. And that exists. I know you can roll your eyes all you want. This ain't a bowling alley, Ed. That's real stuff.
What's the legacy?
What do you mean they have 6 Super Bowls?
Who cares? The person wasn't here when they had them.
What do you mean who cares? Deal. That's the name of the game.
We're talking about that's not the name. The name game is win now. The NFL is not for long. You know why? Because if you don't
last time I checked, Super Bowls are winning now.
Period. When's the last time? We're talking in when? 25 years? What are we?
I hear you. I hear you, but I'm not talking about the players today. I'm talking about the organization. The organization's won. They've won.
Yeah,
I ain't buying I ain't buying that nobody wants to come here. I mean, you could tell me that they don't have a quarterback, and I believe you. I've watched.
Well, I'm not saying that. I mean, obviously, those guys interviewed for a reason. I mean, it's not just they just, but they just did an interview just for the hell of it. I mean, I said maybe some of these guys kind of didn't want the job and thought, oh, hey, I need to just interview just to kind of just for a practice run. I mean, I don't know. Here's the other thing. I see what you're saying, Mac. I mean, and I'm kind of meeting you halfway with that. But I also believe that, if I'm Chris Scholl, if I'm Shieldhouse, after being on a high-powered, offensive team like the Rams. I mean, are you really?
I get it, but then he doesn't want to be a head coach. He doesn't want to be a head coach then Bill, because is he going to go to Arizona or the Raiders? Okay, is that his pick?
Well, I'm asking. I don't know.
That's the only two slots left.
Right. Well,
the
Raiders.
Want to be a head coach, or he wants to go play for one of those teams. Now I don't know who you are.
Or he wants to be a Ben Johnson who waited a year.
And he might do that, Ed. That's a fair point. So maybe he just doesn't want to be a head coach now.
Yeah.
I don't think he's picking. I don't think he's picking some of these teams: Atlanta, the Giants. The Titans. Who this is a real organization, and you're not going to take the Raiders or the Cardinals. I mean, Buffalo took and recycled their guy. I mean, we're talking teams that
I don't know necessarily if you're in the running or you're bidding for a head coaching position. I don't necessarily think that going to Vegas is bad. You're going to get the number. You're going to get the best quarterback. You've got Tom Brady that's going to he's going to point you in the right direction, and he has the expertise. I mean, I don't know.
I hear you. I'll tell you this,
Mac. Let me ask you a question. How long did it take the Patriots post Bill Belichick to get back to a Super Bowl?
I'm gonna answer that question with a question. You can pick the pinnacle franchise in football and use the Patriots as an example, but there's 31 other teams.
Yeah. Okay, go with Seattle. Go with Seattle.
That?
How many post Pete Carroll years did it take Seattle to get back to the Super Bowl?
I hear you, and you could pick the two Super Bowl teams that are playing in the game today.
Let's go with the Rams. How long did it take them to get back? I mean, we do every team, but all these teams are getting back to a Super Bowl. The Steelers are not. That's the point.
I hear you, but I don't understand what that discussion.
The question is, how long do you think it takes them to get back to a Super Bowl in realistic terms?
Well, that's a different question, and we can discuss that. But that's
the same thing. I'm giving you examples of teams that how long it took them. We can go with other teams. You can pick obscure teams. How long it's going to take them. Let's pick the Titans. They haven't been in the Super Bowls in 24 years. Right?
Yeah, and again, half these teams have
and it all leads to the fact that how are they going to get to a Super Bowl, and how long is it going to take?
I don't disagree with
mired in mediocrity. Hell, they can do that for years.
And I think that's where they're heading. To be honest with you,
how many has Cleveland even been to
bring Aaron Rodgers back? We're going to get into that. Sorry for jumping, but I think that's what's going to happen. If they go for a total rebuild, we can discuss that. But I don't think they're doing that, Ed. I agree with you that they need to have players shuffle, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that's not going to happen. But anyway, we'll get into that in a minute.
I just think if you look at coaches and how quickly they can get you to a Super Bowl. I mean, young kid, I don't know. How much does the young kid know? I mean, an older guy, he knows more. He's been down it. He's done it before. Successful 2 different franchises. Maybe he works. Maybe he doesn't. But then what do you do after that?
Well, he sets a process, right? And through that process, maybe they could build a standard from. Maybe they're not sure what to do, and that's why it's a safe bet.
I think it would be an interesting show, not tonight, but if we did, just go position by position and see where they are. And we can use whoever's grades, PFF grades, whatever we want, and see, where they are as far as that and what it's going to take to get them to the top. You don't have to be the top 5. Hell, if you're in the top 10, top 12, you have a chance to go to the Super Bowl every year if you have those in the key positions, I think. I just think they're so far away from going to another Super Bowl. It's just kind of meh. I mean, they did it was close to a lateral move, but he is more, he's undefeated in the Super Bowl, 1-0. He has a playoff win in 23. He has quarterbacks that are, that it makes, NFL MVPs. Those are facts. Can you do it with Aaron Rodgers at his age? I don't know. I mean, Trace, are they going to move? Are they going to try him at guard? Broderick? I mean, I'd put him at guard.
I think Cook is your left tackle, and I think Broderick Jones could try interior.
Yeah, that's 330 pounds at guard, and all he's going to do really is stand up, go forward, and block. Basically.
I think it's the problem, though, Eddie, is he stands up before he does anything. That's why he might not be a good guard. But literally, you might, not just figuratively, literally, that might be the biggest problem.
What a waste of a pick, then.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm off my soapbox. Go ahead.
All right, let's get into this real quick. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, McCarthy was asked. He said, "Yes, I've talked to him, and yes, I would like him back." Which I think that they're in discussions right now. I think, some people don't believe this, but I think there's a good chance he comes back. I just do. I think that he's going to come back, and I will mention this to Ray when Ray comes on at 8:45. But his final year in New York, he was asked by a reporter, "What coach would you want to play for again?" And he just blurred. I mean, he didn't even hesitate. Mike McCarthy. He said, "I would definitely like to play for Mike McCarthy again." Listen, I've said it before. I'm okay bringing Rodgers back. I know some people aren't. Some people, want to move on from it. But, I look at it like this. If you're Art Rooney, and he said time and time again that he wants to year in and year out be competitive, and, he doesn't want to he doesn't want to rebuild. He said that. He doesn't want to rebuild. What's the issue? I mean, let's look at Aaron Rodgers' stats this past year: 3,322 yards, 15th in the NFL, 24 touchdown passes, 13th in the NFL. Only had 7 interceptions, tied for 12th. I mean, what's there to dislike about that? I mean,
he was even able to run late in the season too, Billy. Right? To add. Right? Like,
yeah,
with that,
I mean,
like, it wasn't like he was just standing in the pocket late in the season. He actually was able to get out of the pocket in his 40s.
Right. I mean, there's people that are going to argue with me and tell me that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But when you look,
see what Mac thinks.
I mean, are you okay with their quarterback room right now with Mason Rudolph and Will Howard? I am not. I'm not.
I don't know how you could. I don't know how you could be, Bill. How can you be happy with those two in the stable?
Well, okay. And that's what I'm saying. That maybe was a deterrent for a lot of these young coaches. I don't
disagree. That's a problem.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. We all know that's a problem.
Sure.
But if you can come in and potentially draft your guy, not necessarily this year, next year, that's also an attraction. Okay, that you don't come in on the back end of a Lamar Jackson or all the weight in the world and go into Buffalo, even though they're recycled. Who wanted to go to Buffalo and have to do what McDermott did? Okay, and if you don't win a Super Bowl, you're basically going to get fired. I mean, let's throw this all out. I mean, there's a lot of deterrence from coming in and having the pressure of the world with some of these guys that's played for 7, 8, 9 years already, and is deemed, Pro Bowl, Superman, and everything else. Do you know what I mean? So if you could come in and set the table with your guy, that's also an attraction too.
No, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
How long do you have?
Yeah, that's the how long do you have? That's the
only question I would have.
Yeah,
and again, that's between your boss, okay, and that should be part of your interview and your discussion, and I'm sure that Aaron Rodgers, his name came up on every single in-person and on-phone interview that they conducted. Okay, I don't think it's a secret why McCarthy's there. I mean, I think that the Steelers want him back. I don't think Rooney lied when they said he want him back. I don't think McCarthy lied when he said he wants them to play again. And so I'm with you, Bill. I think he does come back. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any doubt. A lot of people said he's done. I think he comes back too. I'm all in. Again, if you tell me you got a better option, I'm all ears because I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
I got an unproven rookie and I got a certified backup. Okay.
Yeah.
He's ready to do Geico commercials soon.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph. Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, and I like Mason as a person. I think he's great.
Love him
but I
too.
mean, he's gotten so many chances in the NFL. I mean, he went down to Tennessee. Granted, that was a terrible team that he played on down in Tennessee. Terrible team. But I mean, regardless, people always say, the experts always say, regardless if you're on a terrible team or not, a good quarterback is going to elevate the play of everybody around him, regardless if you're on the worst team in the NFL. That's immaterial.
Agreed.
He didn't do that. I mean, he didn't do that. I hate to say that. I'm not trying to drag the guy's name in through the mud or anything like that. But, I mean, I hear these people on the fan call in and you hear these people talk, well, Mason's not a star. How many chances are you going to give this guy? Do you guys not remember, some of these, I mean, I don't know. I just don't understand what the,
Will Levis was the starter in Tennessee, so he was there as a backup. So when he got in, it was garbage time.
Yeah.
So I just think that,
but I mean, he didn't. I mean, he wasn't like, he wasn't good. I mean, he was on a terrible team, which didn't help. But like I said, I mean, I think it was Bill Parcells made the comment that, hey, any good quarterback can go on any bad team and elevate the play. Like that's. So
it's just interesting to. I mean, the only reason I think Aaron Rodgers would come back is totally different from what you guys think. I can't believe that he, as an athlete and a player, would be happy with that last throw.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you look at how it was disastrous for him in the Jets, and he did, he's 10-7. He did make the playoffs. He got his ass kicked in the playoffs, but okay, we got Robin chiming. The Pro Bowl doesn't mean that much anymore now that Shedeur got put in as the eighth alternate. Plus, they play flag football. It's what I'm gonna. I mean, let me just say this: what an absolute joke that the NFL is doing this. I mean, this is I don't even call flag football. I don't even call it football. I call it flag because it's not football at all. I don't. It should not be called football. It's flag. That's a sport that it should be called flag. It's not football. It's stupid. The ratings. You know why Shedeur's there? For ratings. Oh, and I know, you had some injuries and things like that, but I really believe that nobody watches this. Nobody watches this. I mean, the ratings are they get worse and worse every year. But Goodell, I mean, that guy, he just, he can't help himself. The guy is just, he just cannot help himself. Well, what a joke that this has become. I haven't watched any of this, and I wouldn't. I would rather watch curling night in America or curling night in Canada than watch freaking the Pro Bowl games. I'd rather watch curling. I'm serious. And I don't know shit about curling, but I would rather watch that than watch this just this absolute, I don't even know what even to call it. It's I tell you what it is. It's an embarrassment is what it is. They ought to be embarrassed putting stuff like this out. But they don't seem to be embarrassed. I don't know. They just it's a shameless society that we live in, and they like they like rolling just nonsense like this out, and nobody watches it. But
true.
I think you made a good point, Bill, in terms of the overall game itself. But bringing it up, Robin, is for them to put Shedeur Sanders in a Pro Bowl game. I don't care. I don't care if it was done on PlayStation. Okay, there is no reason that Shedeur Sanders, averaging less than 200 yards a game and has more interceptions than he does touchdowns in an 8-game span, should be in a Pro Bowl. We still talk about these players and say, how many Pro Bowls does this guy have? Well, this guy has one now.
Yeah.
Why? It's unbelievable.
I really believe it's for ratings. I mean, I hate that.
No, there's no doubt, Bill. You're spot on.
Yeah. I mean,
what ratings?
Well, you got to do something. I mean,
what do you mean? What ratings? What are you talking about? What ratings?
Year. It was like 3 point. Hold on, I had to pull it up. Hold on.
What ratings? What do you?
The Pro Bowl game averaged a combined 3.1 rating and 5.79 million viewers across various networks, ranking the smallest audience on record for the NFL's annual All-Star game. So it was the lowest ever. Mac and I talked about that often. Just do carnival games or something. Let's just do something silly. Because you can't actually play a football game. They won't play a football game any longer.
I asked Ed if they're going to have the
why is that? Why is that? Why did they just abolish? I mean, I used to love watching the Pro Bowl 25 years ago.
It was a great game.
I used to love watching it.
Yeah.
It was at the last game of the season.
Yeah.
You're in Hawaii. The last game. Yeah. I'm sorry to cut you off. I didn't mean to do that, but no, why? Why did they do that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the NFLPA. They don't want them playing extra games.
It's awful.
Period. Yeah. I mean, I would do
but we're going to be at 18 games soon. We're going to be at 18 games probably in the next 10 years, 20. This is why people. I mean, this is why people call them out on their BS.
Right.
This is why. I mean.
What's so wrong with doing longest kick, farthest throw? Stuff that's not going to really tax anybody, right? I like the drone thing. I thought that was cool. I
think they had to do. You remember MXC? Most extreme elimination challenge. Don't get eliminated. I think they had to do like an MXC type. Where they have like a duct tape. A giant duct tape boulder coming down and they rope swings and
I just want them to play football. I don't know.
And you could bring Kenny Blankenship and there's two Chinese or Japan whatever was it Japanese?
Not my circus.
Yeah, I'm with you, Trace. I don't need Tim Allen until time.
Yeah.
There's no way because they're just not going to play a football game. They just won't do it.
The Ringling brothers over there.
I mean,
I'm good.
Do something because they ain't going to play football.
Well, it's how about just don't even do it? How about just don't even do it? How about just name a Pro Bowl roster and be done with it? Because what you're doing is ridiculous. It's
I guarantee you Shador wasn't a joke. Shador's the only one who picked up the phone because I guarantee they called all the quarterbacks. Guarantee they did. And everybody else said, no, I'm not going. It's a joke. I have plans already. I guarantee they called everybody.
Right.
And he was just the only one.
It is a joke.
Yeah. I'd like to see his contract to see how much he made by making the Pro Bowl.
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question.
If he was there.
Every bit of 60 or 70.
Yep. Billy, 5 minutes. We'll jump with the Penguins.
Okay, let's talk Penguins real quick. This team. Can we just say is this a playoff team, guys? What you're seeing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Simple, yes.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not even looking at record. I'm looking at the way they play the game.
Yes.
The raw. I mean, I think it is. I think it is.
It got even smoother.
I mean, you've got great goaltending. You've just had, it's just.
Doesn't I don't even know what took so long to get rid of the goalie. What took so long? I mean,
yeah.
What took
for those of you who are watching, we started Steelers. Going to talk a little Penguins, and then we're going to circle back. We got Ray Fittipaldo coming on. He's actually going to be calling in. He's not going to be joining us via StreamYard. He's actually going to be calling in. So he's going to be joining us 8:45. We're going to circle back. We want to ask him questions on McCarthy, but we want to talk Penguins here for the next 5 minutes. Big win against Vancouver the other night, 3-2. And I mean, how about this Western, road trip that you had? Starting off in Seattle, you beat the Kraken 6-3. You go to Calgary, you beat them 4-1. You go to, and the best one was that last Thursday night against the Oilers, facing Tristan Jarry. How about that? I mean, Jarry looked god awful. You're able to score 6 goals on him, 6-2, and then you go into Vancouver and you win 3-2. Got the Blackhawks coming up tomorrow night at home. I'll be down there. But, guys, this team looks like a playoff team. It really does. It looks like a playoff team to me. The young guys are just amazing. And the old guys are doing well, too. I tell you what, the way Malkin's playing, I'd give him another year at this point in time.
That guy that's with him, right, Mac? That new guy that's jiving.
Well, Chinnikov. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that second line is on. That's a potent second line in hockey. I'm telling you, I can't believe it. I just watch it, and Malkin plays like he's 10 years younger with this kid, and not to mention the third line with Kindle and Mantha. They're ripping it up too. So
Right.
And Brad.
Yeah,
Brad was on the third line too.
What's that?
Brad was on the third line as well.
Yeah. I didn't mean to leave him off on purpose, but yeah, the third line's is playing too.
Solid.
Yeah, and so coming back to that first question, Bill, they're a playoff team. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Can they make a deep run, in your opinion, with the goaltending they got right now? With because I think you got to, there's talks maybe move Skinner at the deadline. I say no. I say no to that. I say no.
Well, I guess it's going to depend on the goalie situation. Is Stewart, and I heard him on Madden today. I don't know if you heard, but Skinner was on talking, and I mean, he's brought a lot of this with him. Okay, it's not necessarily his play, but these guys are playing, but in front of him, and they weren't doing this with Jari. You know what I mean? They just weren't. And for whatever reason, we can talk till we're blue in the face. They just didn't like playing with that guy. You know what I mean? And so they're playing in front of Skinner, and it shows. Yeah.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just it's funny when I think it was probably about maybe 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks ago. It might have been 3 weeks ago. The Oilers were playing in Nashville, and I believe it was tied up. And we've got Ray calling in right now.
That's it.
Yeah, really.
All right.
John Cena.
Good evening, Ray.
Hey, John, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
All right. So we got the guys here, folks. We got Ray Fittipaldo joining us, Steelers beat writer, joining us via phone. So we got him tonight, and we're gonna pick your brain here, Ray, on this Mike McCarthy hire. We talked a little bit in the opening segment. We kind of talked a little Penguins to kind of fill up stuff, but I know we want to circle back around and get your take on some of these things. So, Ray, I want to start off first by asking you. You were in that press conference. What was your biggest take from that, Ray?
I think just how much it meant to Mike to come home. We all knew he grew up in Greenfield, and you knew when the Steelers brought him in for an in-person interview that it was serious. So when the Steelers saw that to the finish line, and you got to see Mike with his family there on Tuesday, how emotional he was. What it meant for him to be the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was my biggest takeaway. If you guys remember, there was a lot of negative fan reaction to Mike's hiring, like on Saturday and Sunday,
Right.
And Monday before that happened. And I don't know about you. I think that's all kind of gone away now. I mean, people are still a little bit upset, that they didn't go in a different direction. But to me, like Mike's ability to show his emotions there, I mean, that was probably my biggest takeaway. It doesn't mean anything if he doesn't win games.
Right.
I think Mike knows that, but to me, that was my biggest takeaway, just how much coming home and being named the head coach of the Steelers meant to him and his family.
Yeah. My other question, Ray, was, my biggest question is with this defense. Is he going to stick with the 3-4? I mean, they've been running 3-4 for what, 25 years, 30 years? Or is there a possibility he goes to the 4-3? I mean, that was my biggest question. I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it was early in the news conference, guys. He said they're sticking with the 3-4, and
I missed that.
He did run the 4-3 in Dallas when he had Dan Quinn, but Mike's been a 3-4 guy for the majority of his coaching career. Back in the Packers days, Don Capers was his coordinator, I think, for 9 years, including for Super Bowl 45 when they beat the Steelers. So he's very familiar with that. And as you guys know, the Steelers have a ton of 3-4 personnel on their team. And I think, could you have made a transition to the 4-3? Yeah, you could have. But with all their outside linebackers, I think, and their defensive linemen who have specific roles, I think it would have been a little bit of a challenge to do that in 1 year. So they don't have to worry about that now. He's going to run the 3-4. And, since 1992, since Bill Cowher came here with Don Capers as his coordinator. So how many years is that? 30-some years that they've run that same defense.
I missed that. I must have missed that. So go ahead, Ed.
So were you surprised by Tomlin leaving?
Yes, especially with the timing. Listening to Art, a couple of days later, he kind of intimated that he knew this was going to happen sooner rather than later, because Mike had been there for so long. So just the fact that it happened about 12 or 14 hours after that playoff loss was a little bit surprising to me. But when you take a step back and think about it, and just how similar that game was against the Texans to every other playoff game under Mike the last 7 years,
right?
Or last 7 times they made the playoffs. I think he even realized at that point that what are we doing here? Why do we continue to do the same thing over and over again? Now, Art said he would have had Mike back for the 2026 season, but I think if you guys watched Art's news conference, that question was posed to him originally as, were you going to pick up his option? Art did not answer that. So I think just reading into it a little bit that, Mike, if he would have come back, might have been, a
lame duck
head coach. And I don't know that Mike really wanted to go through that, and all the uncertainty. So I think he, just did what was best for the Steelers, best for the organization, and, decided to step down.
You hear different things about what that conversation, how that come about. But from what I understood, they met the next day, and, I guess Art was wanting to basically talk to him about potentially overhauling the coordinators. And he said, basically, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm stepping down. Is that kind of how you heard it too, Ray? Or was that just kind of like a inaccurate rumor, I guess?
No, I just, the story that Art told us, and I haven't heard anything to the contrary, that, Mike made up his mind and he was stepping down no matter what. I think we all, Terrell Austin was in the last year of his contract. I don't think he was going to come back under any circumstance. Arthur still had a year left on his contract. I haven't heard that the Rooneys were going to ask him to fire his coordinators or anything like that. To me, at least what Art told us, that this was a decision that Mike made and Mike Holy made on his own. That's kind of how it all went down.
Okay. Go ahead, Mac.
Yeah, so Ray, in reference to the openings that we have, obviously DCOC you just covered, and the rumors we're hearing with Patrick Graham. What are you seeing or hearing on the OC side of the ball? In what direction do you see them going? Because it's an interest, obviously, by the fan base and changing the direction of this team in a whole.
Yeah, I think obviously the Patrick Graham hire is probably more important just because Mike is the play caller. And this, the OC is going to put together the game plan. He's going to have a big part of, the say of what goes on in the offense. But Mike has the responsibility of calling the play. So to me, like the Patrick Graham thing is, okay, at least we now know who's going to be calling the defenses. Patrick Graham was on Mike's staff, I think, in 2018. He's been a DC in the league for a long time. So they got an experienced guy who can come in here and has experience running for defense. So that's big. In terms of like names for the OC job, Luke Getsy is out there. Luke's a Steel Valley guy. Came up in the league, with Mike early on. He's an OC with the Bears. He's bounced around the last couple of years. With his head coaches losing jobs and whatnot. He's one name to watch there. Joe Philbin, a long-time McCarthy disciple, is another name that's been bounced around. There's this Luna Wells who was with Mike during his Cowboys days, so he'd be a more recent hire. So those are some of the names that are being floated out there at this point. And, I wouldn't be surprised if it's any of those three. I think all three of those guys are qualified. And, for Mike, it's just a matter of, who do you want to get in here at this time? Philbin's a guy from the original Packers staff. Luke came a little bit later. And then obviously he knows Luna from his Cowboys days. So, we'll get a better idea on that. I think by the end of this week or maybe early next week, they should have that wrapped up as well.
Tracy, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, good evening. Hey, during Tomlin's tenure, I'm not going to say a skeleton crew. Always felt like the coaching staff was there, but I always felt like they needed a few more to fill in some spots to help out and to manage a team. With the new head coach, is there any chance that they're going to expand this coaching staff to fill in some of those spots, like the additional wide receivers coaches, quarterbacks coaches, line coaches, and whatnot that might take to actually get a coordinated system, offense or defense going here?
Yeah, I think if you look at Mike's staff in Dallas, he had one of the bigger staffs in the NFL.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Steelers are going to have X number of coaches, but I can almost guarantee you that he's going to have more coaches than Mike Tomlin did. So, we're in that process right now. In addition to, the running backs and receivers coach, he's going to hire a strength staff. If you look at what he did in Dallas, he hired a lot of like analytics type people too who were on his staff. And I was just looking at this today. He also had, and you see this more in college nowadays, that he had like a director of football operations title or something like that on his coaching staff. So I think you'll see a little bit more of that. Again, I don't know a number, but I think it will certainly be more than what Mike Tomlin had.
Ray Fittipaldo joining us, Steelers insider. Ray, we heard Mike McCarthy. Obviously, he was asked a question about Aaron Rodgers. He has spoken to him from what he says, and he wants him back. Are you thinking that this is something that's coming to fruition, or do you think? I mean, where are you at with this? What was it, 50-50? I mean, where do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big steps, and I think we all knew it, but Mike was going to want Aaron back, so we know that now. The Steelers would like for Aaron to come back, and we're just going to wait on Aaron. And the way that McCarthy put it yesterday was, it's a long season. It's emotional just in the days and weeks after the season ends. He wants Aaron to take a step back and make sure of that decision before he, goes ahead and calls him again. Or, I don't know when the decision has to be made by the Steelers. I asked them that yesterday, and they kind of left that open to discussion. But I can tell you this: they do not want this going into early June like it did last year.
Right.
I think that was a special circumstance. I think, ideally they would know in the next couple of weeks, and they would head to the combine in late February, early March, knowing what Aaron wants to do. But certainly, if he wants to come back, the Steelers 100% want him back for 2026.
Well, and I mentioned earlier in the show, Aaron had 3,322 yards last year, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I mean, I don't look at that necessarily as, as bad stats. I mean, not too bad numbers. And, I don't know whether you heard this as well, Ray, but I heard in his final year with the Jets that that they asked him, I think it was, I forget the reporter that asked him, I think it was an ESPN reporter, had asked him if there's one coach you'd want to play for again, who would it be? And he said Mike McCarthy. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, that was obviously a few years ago, but I feel like he's going to come back. I really do. I just, I feel like he's going to come back. I feel like he feels like there's some unfinished business, and I really believe he wants to play for McCarthy again. So.
Yeah, like the one thing I took away from Aaron after the game against the Texans, and he said this several times late in the season. He really enjoyed his time in Pittsburgh.
Right.
Like he absolutely did not regret his decision to play for Mike Tomlin. And then once he got here, building the relationships with guys in the locker room. How special it was for him to get to know and to play with a guy like Kenny Gainwell. He talked about how unselfish Pat Freiermuth was, how much he enjoyed having Darnell Washington and, all the receivers. So he really did enjoy that aspect of playing for the Steelers. So, in the end, I think he's going to sit down, contemplate it, talk to his wife, and, as long as all that stuff checks out and there's no personal issues keeping him from playing, I tend to agree with you. I think this is trending towards Aaron coming back for one more year, and then, you all heard what he said about Will Howard. Will Howard is a guy they want to develop, and then, of course, they got to get another quarterback, a young guy, either in the draft this year or in 2027 when the talent is expected to be a little bit better.
Go ahead, Ed.
So, Ray, did you get any sense when you were talking to Tomlin after the game about his decision? And do you think anybody been able to reach out to him, to see what his thoughts were, anything like that at all?
I asked if he's going to hold a news conference, and I was told within a day or two of him stepping down that he did not want to do that. And, Tomlin has a lot of friends in the national media, most notably Jay Glazer from Fox. So if he's going to do one of those types of interviews, I think it would be with Jay, but that hasn't happened. I don't think Fox has the Super Bowl. I think it's NBC. So I don't really see Mike doing an interview, anytime in the near future. He put out his statement thanking the Steelers fans, and I think that's where he's going to leave it. So he said he doesn't want to coach again in 2026. That's obvious right now. The big question is down the road, does he get the itch? Does he want to come back at age 53, 54, whatever he is? He certainly, has room to come back for a second stint somewhere else if he wants to do that.
Well, and I think, when Cowher stepped down, everybody thought he was going to get back to coaching fairly quick, and then 2 years went by, then 5 years went by, then 6 years went by, then 10 years went by. He's happy where he's at. He's happy doing the television thing. And I don't know, if you ask me, Ray, I just don't see Tomlin having the personality for TV. I might be wrong, but I mean, X's and O's, yeah. But I mean, I guess some people said Cowher didn't have that type of personality as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, Bill fit in really well there. You never know how somebody's going to translate or come over on TV. I don't think anyone would have thought that Bill would have the career he's had in TV. Right. But I think if Mike wants to do it, I think he would do fine.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of easy money to turn down. I mean, some of those guys get paid, upward of 10, 15, 20 million a year just for having those studio jobs or having those, analyst jobs like Tony Romo has. So those are coveted jobs, and it's like I said, it's much easier. You worked 2 days a week as opposed to 7 days a week, and you pretty much make the same money. So, we'll see what direction Mike wants to go. If he doesn't want to get back into coaching, that's a pretty easy avenue for him to head down and, make some extra bucks here as he, gets into his late 50s, early 60s.
Well, I don't see him going to Fox. I can tell you that much. I don't think him and Bradshaw. I don't think that would be too good. I don't know. It's just something, we all know that. But, guys, any other questions for Ray?
As always, thank you.
Hey, Ray, thanks for coming on. Hey, we got blasted with snow. Did you get yourself dug out finally, Ray?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think we got 19 inches.
Yeah.
Down here where I live, and it was pretty brutal, but I don't know. Hopefully we don't get it again. I heard we're getting another one this weekend, so hopefully we can somehow.
That's what I heard too.
Get around that. So I'm pretty much sick of winter by this time, guys.
I hear you. Well, Ray, thanks for coming on the show. We greatly appreciate it. And hey, we'll talk to you soon, Ray.
Thanks, Ray.
All right,
All right. Thanks a lot, Ray. Yeah, good stuff. I'm surprised that maybe that whole thing with with Art sitting down with Mike, maybe it didn't really go on that way. I don't know. I don't know, but
I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but good stuff, guys.
I like the idea, Billy. The thing I really liked when he starts saying robust staff, bringing in analytics people. Even strength and conditioning. He mentioned all of that. I'm excited for all that to come in.
Right. I am too.
I agree with the concept, but I brought up the DCOC thing because this Patrick Graham. I don't get it. I don't understand it. This guy finished. Every year that he's been a DC, the same way the last DC did. His numbers aren't staggering, gentlemen. They just aren't. And so I was interested in hearing Ray's take on it. And I get it. We got the guy that's going to be calling the defense, but that's a good way to look at it. It's probably the only positive way that you can look at it because 5 out of the 7 years as this guy's been a DC, he's finished in the bottom half of the league. In yards given up and points given up. He doesn't have a good track record. Dolphins, Giants, Raiders. Nothing says fearsome defense like that. I can't get excited about that hire. If that hire is accurate, which it's all but inked, I think, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
What's your guys' take on that DC hire?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I don't know that was, I tell you, when I heard that Monken got hired as the Browns head coach and Schwartz was furious and said he's not coming back. I thought they should have got in and drove to Berea, Ohio right then and there, and tried to get him to be the next DC, but didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Good stuff tonight. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for the comments. We'll be back next week. I'm sure we'll continue this whole thing. I'm sure by next week we may have well, as Ray said, we'll probably definitely have the OC figured out, but then probably a number of others. Senior Bowl this weekend too, guys. So that's something that, So that's something that. What's that?
Said I can't wait. I love
Super
Bowl.
Yeah.
That's
65 and older. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Not that Senior Bowl.
Oh.
Totally different from that one.
Yeah, not the Rascal Senior Bowl.
No.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll talk to you next.
See you later.